All right, so we're here to talk about our test lead set.
Yes, yes.
So you say this is your favorite tool.
It's very much one of my favorite tools because I use it so much, yes.
Okay, all right. And so can you tell us a little bit about it and why it's your favorite tool, aside from that you use it all the time?
I don't know much about it. I just was told it was supposed to be really good. No. As RV technicians, we do a lot of diagnosis work. And in order for us to diagnose what's wrong with that furnace, that water heater, that refrigerator, that awning, that step, we need to be able to pierce into that circuit, pierce into that wire, and see the current flowing through that wire, send power into a circuit to bump a solenoid, to test a light. And so that's the backstory. So the reason it's one of my favorite tools is not only because I'm the daddy that invented it, but because I use it all the time. So this is the bag that we've got a brand new one we're going to show you, but this has been with me for a better part of a year. And so this is the test lead set in all of its glory. Here, let me get a little bit closer. And so it's basically 4 feet long. And what I've done here is I've got stacking banana plugs on the end, okay, and on both sides. So both sides I solder stacking banana plugs on both sides. And what this allows me to do, now you might say, well, Darren, what happened to your 10-foot test lead? Well, I went with 4 feet because I found out that 10 feet was just a little bit too much wire. I didn't need the 10 feet, and 4 feet works perfectly. But with the stacking banana plugs, if I'm referencing a ground on a furnace or something, I can basically stack. So this one's connected to my meter, for example. So I'm connected to my meter, and I know I've got a ground reference, but then I also need another ground reference. Well, I can use the exact same ground reference by just stacking these things. And so one of the things that I do with it is most of your test leads are 16 gauge. I went with 14 gauge. And the other thing I did was I have parallel wire, so it doesn't get into a big knotted mess. If you've used electrical meters and you've got your black and your red, they're always twisted and tangled up. And that was always something that frustrated me. So by going with a parallel type of a wire, this is parallel 14 gauge, I've eliminated the whole problem of the wires getting all knotted up and tangled. And you went with silicone because sometimes we're working on a furnace and it's cold, and the PVC jacketed wire always kind of looks like a tertiary structure, always like that. So silicone, the furnace we worked on a couple days ago, it was 24 degrees, and I used this and it stayed flexy and pliable.
So would you say that this is for everybody, just the RV tech, somebody who's handy like a DIYer? Who would you say this would be good for?
Yes, anybody who's going to be doing diagnostic work doesn't need to be with RVs. We've got friends that are mechanics, and they have bought these for their work for working on cars.
Okay.
They might have different types of connectors than we do. These are what I use for RV work, but I was an electrician for a long, long time, and I wish I would have had come up with something like this when I was doing that. So anybody that's going to be, that has a meter, any kind of meter, doesn't have to be a fluke, any kind of meter would benefit from something like this.
Okay. Great.
But yeah, so anybody would benefit from this if they're doing any kind of diagnostic kind of work.
So anybody that knows how to use a fluke meter
Or
and wants to diagnose or learn how to use the fluke meter and wants to diagose issues on their RV,
it'll help you
or
see.
even outside of RV work. Oh, great. Okay. All right. So they don't have to buy an accessory, but in order for it to be functional, they would need to use an accessory. So if they already have an accessory that works with it, or they can buy one of ours.
That would be a correct statement.
Okay.
So some of you, and I think that was one of the reasons we went with the a la carte format. Every time I've ever bought the Fluke Master test lead set, I didn't have a choice. I had to buy everything that was in that package. And they didn't really have it priced very well where I could get just this one and just this one and just this one. And so what we've done is we've made it so that you can buy just this, 3 of those, 2 of those. I don't need that. I need this. Because, you know, like for me, I use these kind of connectors an awful lot. And I pack 1, 2, 3. I've got 6 of these with me because I'm piercing into different parts of the circuit. And then I'll just move my connector over to one of those things. We can get into that here in a minute on how I do that. And so, for example, if I'm working on a furnace, but I'm going to answer your question. You could buy just this and use your existing accessories. Or you can buy just some accessories. It's however you want. We've set it up so you can get it however you want to. But yeah, I think that if you're doing any kind of diagnostics work on electrical, from all my years working as my previous career plus this one, this has been, like we said, it's my favorite tool because it makes diagnosing things fun, easy, simple, and I can just swap things out really, really easily.
All right. Okay. So can you give a brief overview of each accessory? I know we have them here.
Sure.
And maybe you can even look into this camera so that they can get a close-up view.
Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll go over some of the accessories that I've come up with to use as an RV technician. If you're working on a mechanic or if you're an electrician working on 120, 240, 480, maybe these won't work for you. But for RV type work, these are all the things that I've used. I rarely need anything outside of this. So let's go over some of the things that I've come up with. So my favorite ones are going to be these little piercing probes here. Okay. I love these guys right here. I use them all the time. And you just take a wire. This little black thing right here is spring loaded. You can see the little black part move. It's on a little spring. And so you put your wire in this little opening. You close your black piece to it, and then you squeeze this as much as you need to. Let me see if I can get the little pin shot in there. Let's see here. You may not be able to see the pin. Yeah, you got a little. You see that little vampire tooth sticking out. And so I use these all the time on a lot of my diagnosis because, like on a furnace, I might grab one for an LP line, grab one for the cell switch line, grab one for the motor lead, grab one for the thermostat wire. And so I've got like 5 or 6 of these things hanging off of a furnace. And then I can just take my other end of the test lead set here and just move it over and follow that signal through as I'm diagnosing a furnace. And so that's what's handy for these. So we offer these. Another one is these little piercing probes like this. And so like I said, just 2 days ago, I was working on a refrigerator and this was piercing into the harness that goes up to the eyebrow board. And you can get right inside of those little pins. The normal size meter test lead is a little bit too big to get into there. And we offer those as well. So here we have your normal type probe. And the one we have here is basically the kind that connects to a banana plug. And so if you needed to, here's your test lead, you connect it on the end of the banana plug, and now you have that on the end. And then that's when you might take one of these, connect it onto the end so that I have a sharp point connected to the normal test lead, connected to the banana lead. And then if I needed to maybe get power to that, so then I have one that might be connected to my battery, and I can connect that. This one would be connected to my meter, this one coming in on my battery lead, and now I can actually put 12 volts onto the tip to actually simulate a circuit changing state. So then we have these alligator clips. I'll go with red. So I went with these alligator clips. I tried a bunch of different alligator clips, but these work really well. They open up big. I'm able to get these on most of the ground lugs that might use for the chassis ground. Those are usually bigger lugs, and I can grab it. So we've got the black and red on these. This is a harness that I make myself. So I put the banana leads on the end. All the banana leads that I'm going to go with are going to be shielded. In other words, I'm not going to have one where you've got the metal banana thing sticking up here because that could short out something. So that's the other benefit of the test lead, is not only are these stacking banana leads, but they're all insulated, shielded. Most of your banana leads are just going to be an exposed prong sticking up here. And I didn't want to do that because you're working on diagnosing things and I didn't want to short something out. So that's the other benefit of all these, is that they're all insulated. So this is what I make. Sometimes you'll see me in my videos where I will take my 12 volt battery pack off of my drill and I'll energize a solenoid to see if it's clicking to get the gas to flow. I've even bumped awnings with that battery pack, do this electric steps with that battery pack. I've even bumped slide rooms with that battery pack. I don't know if my battery pack's strong enough to run the whole slide room in and out, but if I just need to get proof that it's working, I'll do that. And so here, again, all this is rated for 20 amps. And so on one side, I've got the little blades there, and that'll slide in. I use 12 volt. I mean, I've got the 18 and the 20 and then all these other things, but my everyday carry drill pack that I carry with me for doing things is 12 volts. So everywhere I go, I've got a 12 volt power source. And so this then connects to the battery pack, and I've used it. I've got of course, my DeWalt is what I've been using for a long time, but I've also got a Bosch and 12 volt, and these slide into that as well. And then the other end of this tool is the insulated banana prongs. And so what I've been doing with this, if I'm running a furnace, then let me zoom out just a little bit. So then I don't need the test lead set, and I can just come up with a configuration like this. Grab it. Where these are pierced into the circuits that I need to energize, and the other end I connect right to my battery. And so here I don't even need the test lead set, I just have this right here. Okay, and so that's been a nice feature of this as well. And again, it's all these little stacking banana things where you can just build like Lego. And so those are the accessories that we have. And we also have a bag that I went through a bunch of different types of bags. And I finally found this bag here, and this is what it looks like when it's new. And so it's got all these compartments and packages and things like that. And I like this. I tried different kinds, the hard type, closure type, but I like this because it's flexible. And like, so here's mine. After a year, they hold up pretty well. And I just throw this in my tool bag. Or if I'm going to go do a job, I'll grab this tool, I'll grab this bag with my meter, I'll go run somewhere, and I know I have everything I need to diagnose something all in this bag. In the zipper compartment, if you get the Fluke 325, it comes with a temperature probe, so I use that with mine. But I've got a whole second test lead set that I carry in here. I've got my extra, those little piercing probes. I'll carry a couple of those extra ones, some fuses, just different little pieces. So this bag has been a really nice bag, and then I'll take my test lead, stick it right there in front, and then sandwich it, clip it, and we're off to the races. So there's some of the accessories we're offering and how I use them as doing RV type work. And so hopefully that'll help you guys with that as well.
All right. So just to close out, some of these products people can find different versions.
Yes.
And so, for example, the test lead set, people might see some different versions of test lead sets, like on Amazon or things like that. And so, what would be the advantage to getting this test lead as opposed to that one?
That's a very valid question. There's just really a difference in quality between some of these accessories, the wire leads, the meters themselves. It's just it's a gulf of difference between the two. Okay, the ones that we offer are ones that I have personally used and ones that I would say have Darren's seal of approval. These are industrial rated. I have a saying that you've heard me say, I want my tools to work as hard as I do. I don't want them to take a day off. I don't want them to break.
Okay. So for the accessories, there's a quality issue.
Yes.
And then for the test lead set itself, you mentioned earlier that ours is rated for a higher voltage and that it's got the advantage of being silicone and not getting all tangled up because it's...
parallel.
Yeah.
Yeah, the parallel wire, the 14 gauge wire, higher rating. We use nickel braided wire on the inside, which has a very low resistance. So there's a lot of thought that went into which wire I use. I didn't just go with the cheapest wire. And the stacking banana plugs are rated for 20 amps. So we're making them really right. And then every one of them I test myself before I send it out. I yank on it to see if I break it. Because the last thing I want to do is start making these tools and then they break and then people send them back, and then that's not what I want. So hopefully you make it once and it's made right the first time and you guys get the right one.
Great. Well, it sounds like a great tool.
Yeah.
People should go out and buy it.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.